Hey, you beautiful twin flames, and welcome back to Tarot for You 444. I'm so delighted you could join me today. And the energies have been a little bit mixed at the moment. So I'm going to be bringing you a tarot reading for your masculine today, as well as a channeled message. So bear with me while I shuffle and talk. I've recently noticed a lot of people in the twin flame community realizing that people, places, and things in their life are no longer fitting, and I know that that's been something that's gone on for quite some time. Where we realize who we are and what we will and won't want to be around, but there's a real big falling away that's happening again on a whole nother level. So those people, places, and things that you thought you could tolerate in the past, you may be having another shaking down and go, wow, actually those people that I kept, some of those people also need to go out of my life, or they'll just disappear. Not literally, but they'll just fall away naturally, is what's happening. And that's part of your, I guess we could say, part of your awakening. And it's really important that you realize why that's happening. So I'm going to try and give you a little bit of insight into what's going to happen. This next year that we're coming into is going to be a little bit weird, but also awesome. And then a little bit weird, and then a little bit awesome. So on a spiritual level, you might find yourself going from your ego and then into your heart space, and then back into your ego or your soul space and then back into your ego. It's kind of like I'm really frustrated, and then you'll go out into the garden and go, I can feel God here, I feel amazing. It's going to be one of those types of years, and that's a good thing, because the whole purpose, to your journey is to get rid of the ego. And I find it so interesting that I've got these two. I'm using trading cards because I really like trading cards to use as decks. As you know, or most of you know, I'm a psychic medium, so I don't need the cards at all. But we have this awesome gesture here on this card, and this is what I'm talking about. We also have a gesture on this card, and this is where I stop shuffling for both. So very, very interesting is, this is the ego, right? This is the part of you that doesn't want to lose the argument. This is the part of you that says, I'd sell my soul for that thing that I need, or that person that I want, or that job that I want, right? So really important message today is to not let your assertion go. So if you've got beliefs that you hold dear to yourself, you've probably got to a place where you know yourself. So if just as an example, if you know that the vegan diet is perfect for you, I'm going to go chuckle, right? Because I would never suggest that for anyone. But let's just say it's that, right? Let's just say that for you, the vegan diet is the most perfect thing. You've been a vegan for 10 years and you think it's amazing. And then you go posting on social media telling everyone that they need to be a vegan. That's you still being in your ego, right? Because what works for you might not work for someone else. And what works for someone else might not work for you. So there's a whole thing on social media at the moment where people are, arguing about the most mundane, silly things that you could imagine, all because they need to be right. And of course, what's right for you, like I said, before, what's right for you may not be right for, Jane or Bob or Janine or whoever it is, right? So be very careful when you go online and start being a warrior for something, whether that's spirituality or some diet regime or some, I don't know, concoction that you swear by because, it was your grandmother's secret recipe. Be very aware that your ego is the thing that you're trying to shed. Whether you're on the twin flame journey or not doesn't matter, but generally speaking, you want to come to a place of humility. So, let's say your best friend Bob, I don't know, let's go the other way now. He's on the carnivore diet and he only eats meat, right? And you think that that's ridiculous. It's up to him, right? Everyone has got free will, and that's the whole purpose of being, right? I'm just going to say of being. So try not to force people to believe a certain thing that you believe. Try not to coerce or convince. Convince was the word I was looking for, not coerce. But try and realize that your control over things isn't really up to you, right? So, I mean, if you've got kids, it's a little bit different, and you definitely don't want them to have the, this thing, let's just say for argument's sake, right? You don't want them to have that because, we won't go into that conversation, but, and other people are telling you that you should, then you've got an absolute right to, stand true on that. But you want to make sure that you don't coerce or force people out of their free will, because the whole purpose of being here, at this time and in this place, is that we have free will. All right? And free will, depending on what spiritual beliefs you have or what religion you have, can mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. So if you were Christian, as an example, your beliefs would differ from someone else. If you were Muslim, for example, your beliefs might differ from someone else. If you were Jewish, your beliefs might differ from someone else. And that's when I'm talking about religion. But, if you are Indian, your beliefs might be different to other people as well. If you're Australian, if you're American, if you're Japanese, if you're from Thailand or wherever you're from, if you're from Europe, you might have different way of living. So what we have to try and do, and this is really important for the twin flame community to understand, is we have to try and accept everyone, unless they're hurting people, right? Unless they're doing something damaging, which we wouldn't agree with, but everyone has the right to choose. Okay, so everyone has the right to choose their own way of taking care of themselves when they don't feel well. Everyone has the right to eat what they want. Everyone has the right to, believe in a certain culture if they want. Everyone has the right to be religious if they want. And we need to really nurture everyone and say, as long as it's not harming people or animals or, I don't know, the world, then that's fine. So we need to come into this area of acceptance. And today, I really want to talk about gratitude as well. So if we accept people for who they are, as long as they're not total tossers, which is something we say in Australia. If you're a tosser, you're a wanker or a dickhead or a idiot, right? So as long as they're not hurting anyone else, right? Let them be and do and say what they want to, right? Because then that's freedom, isn't it? Okay? So everyone matters, no matter what race or culture or, or planet they're from, let's just say for fun, okay? So try in your everyday life to have acceptance for others That doesn't mean you have to be best friends with everyone. That just means that you should accept other people for their belief systems. They are having their own experience, and you're having your own experience. And the people that you don't resonate with will fall away, and the people that you do resonate with will become part of your soul tribe. Okay, as I like to call it, your soul tribe. And they may not be blood relative family, right? As many of you already know. That's my big message today. So we have acceptance and then we have gratitude. Be grateful for the roof over your head. Be grateful for the food that you have. Be grateful for that pet you have. Be grateful for the loved ones that you have, okay? Because unfortunately, a lot of people have passed away, over the last few years. And, there's a big shift happening, and coming into 2024, there's going to be a lot of exciting things happening for all of us in the world. But you must keep your vibration high. That's the message today. Keep that vibration really high. Be full of acceptance, be full of gratitude, and help people where you can. Okay, so if you've got a 9-to-5 job, and I definitely will get into the reading in just a moment, but I want to just say this. If you've got a 9-to-5 job and on weekends you're available to help the homeless soup kitchen down in your area, or your local church group, or your local, Meals on Wheels, or whatever it is, try and give yourself in some kind of way, and that will humble you. If you're having trouble being in your ego, if you can't let go of your ego, if you have to be right, if you have to be in control all of the time, go and visit some people in the nursing home. It will really humble you, right? Go and visit, that sick person that that has, that horrible disease, and they're struggling. Go and visit them, and you will find that your ego will fall away. There are a lot of people struggling in the world right now. My channel is dedicated to helping those who cannot afford things. So if you make a donation to my channel, it will go into helping someone in need. So I want to just tell you some of the charities. They're not specific charities with like the names of charities, but I've helped many people in different countries who have been homeless. I've helped orphans, and I've helped families in my community and around the world be able to eat. I've helped people pay for their medical expenses. I've helped people get air conditioning in countries that, it's very hot over there. So that's what I want to do with this channel, is I want to give back to people who don't have enough. So, I'm very grateful for what I have. I have a roof over my head. I eat food, really good food every day. And I'm very, very grateful for what I've been given. And I'd like to give back to people who are in tough situations, especially families who are, in poverty, okay? And orphans are one of the two places where I like to give my money. So if you get a reading with me, if you, buy any of my services, just know that the monies will come to me, and I will, I will use usually 50% or more of that money will go into a family in need, or families in need. So I just want you to know that this channel, was always meant to help other people. All right. So let's get into the Divine Masculine reading. Thank you for your patience and listening to me go on about that. Just try and let go of your ego. If you're coming into ego, if you're being triggered by social media or by the news or by your, grandma's auntie's cousin, let's just say, or even by your twin flame, try and come back into the heart space, do the self-care that you need to do, and get into that humble space again, okay? It's really important, especially right now. So there's been this weirdness from the masculine for quite some time now. Excuse me. He's had to deal with a lot of different things, right? I'm really guided to say that I'm not making excuses for the masculine, even though the masculine has been making excuses probably to you. So the people listening today, your masculine may have recently stopped communicating with you or hasn't been communicating with you for a really long time. Now you have to remember that the divine masculine is also going through some weirdness himself within his community or within his town. There's been something going on, is what I want to say. So that's really important for you to understand. The other thing that's been going on is that he's noticing the weirdness that's happened in the world, you know, like the shutdown and all of that stuff. He's contemplating that and really trying to understand what on earth happened. You know, how could all of this happen? And everyone kind of is just trying to get back to some kind of normality in the world. So he has this dream of you, this vision of you, but it's very fantastical. It's like, I'd love to be in this thing with my feminine, but everything's so weird right now. I have a lot of work to do in my world. So I don't know if something's happened in his community where he's maybe had to rebuild some infrastructure, or in his business he's had to, re-employ some people and train them or something like that. That's the message I'm getting. Obviously I'm channeling through a collective here, so it won't resonate for all of you. But there's this weirdness that continues. You know, he's had to deal with some strange people. He's had to deal with some strange people or events, okay? And some of the people he's had to deal with haven't exactly been accommodating to what he wants. That's what I'm getting told. So he's halfway between being awake or awakened, let's just say that, and living in the community he has to live in, where my throat chakra is going a bit crazy. So, you know, where we would say people are still unawakened to their own spirituality. So in this picture here, you know, he's chasing the butterfly. You know, this enigma of the twin flame journey is still there, but then he's trapped in this 3D world as well. So he's kind of like, he reaches out a hand to touch the twin flame journey, but then goes back to the 3D world, because right now, you know, everything happening in the 3D world is kind of batshit crazy. For some of the masculines, they are spending time on their own, and really enjoying company with friends, I want to say. When they can finally step away from work or step away from that project, they really have been enjoying their time with friends, because it's the first time now in a long time where, you know, the lockdowns have stopped and that kind of thing. So there is a little bit of normalcy, happening back in the world. And so he's liking that. He does feel that there's a part of himself that's kind of evil. Maybe evil's too harsh of a word, but the shadow side of himself is still here. This is also related to ego, and this is why I've been strongly suggesting that for those of you watching my channel today, you try and get rid of your ego, because we do have the mirroring going on between the twin flames. So mirroring can happen in one of two ways with the twin flame journey. If you remain in your ego and forget about your soul, the divine masculine can do the exact same thing. If you go within and really, 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 really connect with your soul and completely lose your ego, you can find that you can lose your masculine by being, you know, too spiritual or too, you know, like too much going one way or the other, if that makes sense. So it's like a pendulum. You don't want to swing too far and be, I don't know, the best example I can use is, you know, you don't want to be like Julie Andrews' Sound of Music good. You know what I mean? You don't want to be that perfect, but you don't want to be, I don't know, I'm trying to think of who else. You don't want to be Miley Cyrus either, let's just say, right? So you want to bring it into the middle where you can still be a little bit assertive and have some of the ego there when necessary, but you don't want to, the hills are alive with the sound of music. You know, you don't want to completely go on that track of being so perfect that it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that, because it will affect your masculine. If you're too perfect, you might find that he becomes really dark and really crazy and really weird. And if you stay in your shadow side completely, like, you know, be totally Miley Cyrus and on a wrecking ball, right? You know, when she's, oh my God, I can't even. But, you know, then he can go into a different dimension, not literally, but what can happen is he can miss you, as in your energetic vibrations aren't even close, right? So you want to stay balanced. That's the key word. Balance, balance, balance. And I really love this next card because, you know, he's trying to balance. This guy's trying to balance. And then the next card is awesome because, you know, we have this mix here of I'm going within. My throat chakra always goes crazy when I'm doing divine masculine, so I apologize, but I'm going within, I'm going within, I'm going within, I'm going within, but I'm still having a little bit of fun with my life. You know, it's not, you know, the hills are alive with the sound of music. You know, you're not becoming a nun, right? You're not becoming perfect, okay? You're becoming real. You're real, okay? So you're assertive when you need to be. You're humble, you know, perhaps you give to charity, you know what I mean? Like you are who you are, and you know you make mistakes, but you're not crazy Miley Cyrus and you're not goody two shoes Julie Andrews. You know, you're keeping it real. Let's keep it real. So there's not much to celebrate other than what you're doing right now, Divine Feminine. If you're listening today, if Divine Masculine, you're listening today, you also need to be full of balance. That's what the celebration is for this year, right? We want to come into this space where we realize that all the pieces, notice this is a puzzle card, all the pieces of the puzzle will start coming together, and this next one's also a puzzle card, if we just let our ego go, right? Just let it fall away. Let it fall away. Let it fall away. And what you'll notice happens is that you will end up That's a close-up of my arm, sorry. You'll end up that your money will come good. You'll end up, that wish that you want will come good. Wow. My throat chakra. He's got a message for you, by the way, Divine Feminine. Right? This is like a dream card. Your dreams will come true with the sound of music. I'm being silly. Obviously, I don't really sound like that when I sing, but I'm being silly. Just be yourself. Love God or whoever it is you believe in, right? Help people when you can. Be a good person. Be a kind person. That's what I'm asking you to do today. We have a message from the masculine now. He's kind of interrupting me and saying, look, you've spoken about how we should all behave. Now tell her what I want to tell her. Take gender how it resonates for you. All right. So I'm just going to shuffle these cards, my trading cards. I'm just gonna do what I'm being told to do. Oh dear. And there's this song coming through while I'm shuffling. A kiss on the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. Right? I don't know if you know that one. Do 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 do. I don't know. Check out Moulin Rouge. If you haven't seen Moulin Rouge with Nicole Kidman, go and check that out. For some of you, there's some messages in there that you need to get, especially in the soundtrack. So if you don't want to watch the movie, the soundtrack of Moulin Rouge. Okay. And then I'm getting, come what may. And then, I will love you until my dying day, come what may. So a lot of you are forgetting that your divine masculine, in spiritual terms, is you and loves you, right? Because they are you. So even if your 3D version of your masculine is far away, for some of you, they live across the other side of the world. Not all of you, that won't resonate for all of you, but if they live across the other side of the world, they may be having difficulties with their money. So if you want to help them with money, don't give them money. Come into balance with yourself, right? Go within. Don't be Julie Andrews from Sound of Music. Don't be a nun. But go within, balance your energy out, and that will help them. And look here, this next card. Wow, we've got the same two cards happening, right? To me, it looks like she's holding money. If you want to help them with their finances, come into balance yourself. That's the big message from Spirit today. Alrighty, so now a message from your masculine. Okay, there's a song just coming. Just bear with me. Put some elevator elevator music while you're waiting. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. I'm gonna sing it. Hang on. Like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down. Again. Like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down. Right? There's been something going on in his community that's been troubling. Right? I want to say again, infrastructure. There's been some infrastructure damage or something, some form of force of nature has come through and done damage, and it's going to take money to fix. Because I'm getting, the next song I'm getting is, It's gonna take time, a whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time. Wow, that's low. To do it, to do it, to do it, to do it, do it, to do it right. So he might be helping. He might be helping with some kind of infrastructure. You know, I don't know, maybe, you know, the local community is putting money into it or something like that. But that's what's keeping him busy for some of them. He really wants to say this to you, but he's finding it hard. There's a part of him that wants to say, I'm sorry that I used you. It's a really big word, used you. Like, I used you for something. I used you for your time, your money. Maybe I asked for your advice. And maybe he ghosted you recently because he feels guilty about doing that. Because in the masculine's mind, take gender how it resonates, but they're supposed to be the supportive ones. So if you helped your masculine with money or some other form of resource that you have, like time, or I don't know, maybe you helped them, you know, file their tax return, or maybe you helped them, you know, with a family situation or whatever it was, they feel a little bit guilty. So you might find that they've walked away, you know, for a time, you know, up on this cliff here, they've walked away because they feel like they're being judged in some kind of way, right? And then the anger of the feminine sort of comes through. It's interesting here, you know, like he feels like the feminine might be angry with him, or at the very least disappointed with him. So when he reaches out next time to you, he may seem a little bit weird, like, you know, you might not have heard from him for a while, and then he's like, you know, hey, how have you been? You know, like kind of keen, and you're kind of like, well, hang on a minute, we haven't spoken for, you know, this long, and you're just all casual now saying, you know, how you doing? And I want to say, hey, how you doing? Sorry you can't get through. Why don't you leave your name and your number and I'll get back to you, right? So it's this feeling of maybe you left them a message and they didn't reply, or maybe they've left it on read, or maybe they just haven't gotten back to you and they said they would. It's this weird energy, but it's because of their guilt. And we have this, you know, it's kind of like a little bit of a show, you know, like I'm pretending that everything is fine. I'm pretending that I didn't use you. I'm pretending that I didn't ghost you. I'm pretending that I didn't do that thing that I shouldn't have done. And, you know, my shit doesn't stink. You know, I'm royalty. Very interesting. It's weird because on one hand, they're like, you know, their soul feels guilty for doing what they did to you in the 3D, but in front of everyone else, they have to keep this facade going, like, you know, everything's fine, nothing to see here, folks, just keep moving on, right? A lot of them are having problem with their money, and I mean, you know, they're making ends meet each week, so it's been difficult. Or they're helping, like I said, they're helping with some kind of community thing and rebuilding some sort of infrastructure, or I don't know, we're building that thing because our community needs it, and I need to, you know, I'm so busy with that, I need to get back to it, you know. So it's this weirdness, you know. I don't know what animal this is, but I think it's a goat. You know how goats are weird? You know how goats like climb up on cars and mountains and they just stand on the side of mountains and do weird things. Well, that's kind of the enigma that is the divine masculine right now, you know. Like, he's just being a bit of a weirdo, quite frankly. You know, but when you see him or talk to him next, you know, I was fighting that community challenge that came about, or I was helping a friend, I was, you know, I don't know, I was feeding the starving fish in the lake. You know what I mean? It's going to be there's this weird enigma. I'm just going to call it a weird enigma that is the masculine right now. His message is kind of being fraught by the truth today. So the truth shall set you free. And the interesting thing about it is that the divine are overpowering what the masculine wants to say, because no matter what he says to you, the reason that he's not showing up for you is because of his ego or his guilt, right? Because if the feminine, puts a sword to hit, not literally, don't do that, of course, I'm not condoning putting I don't know if anyone owns a sword, but don't do that. But if the feminine were to, let's just say we're in fantasy land for a moment, if the feminine were to say, tell me the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, there'd be this magical story of, you know, like a child would say, well, there was this giant tree, and on top of the giant tree was this weird other thing, and I had to get through this forest, and on my way, it was so high up that I didn't think I'd make it, and that's why I haven't spoken to you for so long. You know, you can imagine a kid saying this story. So whatever they come and say, it might seem fantastical or irrelevant to you, divine feminine, but you have to remember that they have this guilt, right? I'm closing my eyes. I don't want to say sorry. I know that I used you. I am sorry, but I don't know how to say sorry. And how do I come back from that? And what should I do? And how would I do that? So it's easier just to sort of walk away or to ghost. You know, the divine masculine doesn't like awkwardness, right? The divine masculine doesn't like awkwardness, so he'll be looking at you from a distance right now. From a distance, he will be looking at you. And here we have, for both the masculine and feminine, the jester's challenge. Get rid of your ego. Get rid of your ego. Get rid of your ego. La 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 la. Right? Like I say, don't become Julie Andrews and don't become Miley Cyrus. Go in between. I came in like a wrecking ball. Right? Interesting here. We have them trying to be balanced. That's the huge message today. Balance, 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 balance. We have this weirdness here of, you know, the masculine trying to change forms. You know, I'm trying to be this amazing person within my community. I'm also a father, so I need to be this, and I need to be that, and I need to be this. Right? He just needs to let go, come out of the 3D, join the puzzle pieces together, come out of the 3D and back into the soul space. Right? How does he do that? Because the feminine will do that first. The feminine leads this journey. The feminine goes within. Okay? When she goes within, all of a sudden, that money problem he was having will, I don't know, not disappear, but it'll help. Right? That loneliness that he was feeling, right? That project he was trying to do will get better, right? But the mask has to come off for the feminine and the masculine, right? Look at that card. They're both wearing a mask. They're both being judgmental, both accusing each other of XYZ, right? That needs to stop. We have to stop with the theatrics, right? No more theatrics. Okay, we want to come into the normality again. Let's go back to the normal. Right? And once we do that, once we get rid of this ego, this weirdness, once we stop clowning around on the twin flame journey, then we will see real change in our own life and in the masculine's life. So remember, at the beginning of this reading, I told you to not be judgmental, to not, try and force your perceptions of what you believe things should be like onto other people. That includes your masculine. Okay. I love this last card. Actually, there's two, right? Right now, this is your masculine. I'm wearing a mask. I'm pretending everything's fine, right? What a great card, right? But when it comes down to it, he's vulnerable and he just wants love, right? He needs love. He's just a little boy, right? He's just a little kid. He's just, inside of his heart, despite all the adulting that he thinks he's done, right? He is just a child. And we need to remember that when we're dealing with people who aren't narcissists or psychopaths, right? With people in general that are struggling, they are their inner child. So come back to the realization that people need love, right? People need you to be kind to them. Now, I'm not talking about narcissistic people or psychopaths, because there's a lot of them in the world as well. I'm talking about, in general, people need to feel loved. Most people, including your masculine, are wearing a mask, right? I'm great, I'm going great guns, I've got this amazing job and this wonderful family life and everyone thinks I'm amazing, and we take the mask off and we've just got that, little kid going, I just want to be loved. I just want to be nurtured. I just want to feel safe in the world. Exactly the same feeling that you have. You want to feel safe in the world. You want to be loved. And they are you. Let's remember that your divine masculine is you. Okay? So even if they're going batshit crazy in the 3D world, even if they're wearing this mask, even if they've given you all these excuses, underneath all of that, when we peel away this massive ego, when we take off the mask, right? I find it interesting that the whole world was wearing masks. Let's take those masks off. For goodness sake, take the masks off, right? And breathe. You can't breathe with a mask on, right? No one can breathe with a mask on. You're literally breathing in your own carbon dioxide. It's not a healthy way of being. Come back into balance. Go and do some meditation. Do some yoga. Do some prayer. Eat properly. Sleep properly. Realize that you are your twin flame, right? I'm going to say that again. You are your twin flame. And if you are your twin flame and you're forgetting to take care of yourself, is it any wonder why your twin flame is suffering right now? If you're not eating well, if you're not sleeping well, if you're doing toxic behaviors, is it any wonder that your twin flame has gone batshit crazy? Miley Cyrus wrecking ball, right? They're wrecking everything in their life. They're coming undone. Why? Take a look within. All right, go back to basics. Okay, be humble, help charity, help your loved ones, give yourself self-care, right? It's very important that you understand this message today. I'm gonna call it an urgent message for all twin flames. The world needs you right now. The world needs you. There are people starving right now because they cannot afford to live each week. There are people who cannot afford to feed their children in this world. There are people who have lost their jobs and are homeless. Right? So all of those tiny little problems that you have, like, you don't know what to wear today, or you're, damn, you have to cook that meal for your family tonight, or whatever it is that you think that your problem is, the complaining that you've been doing, or the whinging that you've been doing about those tiny little things. Come back, come out of your ego. Be grateful that you can, because there are people in the world right now who are living in tiny little huts with nothing to eat and a family of 5 to feed. Right? So maybe instead of buying that new game that you want, or that new makeup that you want, or that expensive, I don't know, Louis Vuitton whatever, and I'm not saying that all of you do that, but I'm just saying maybe you could just spare a tiny little bit to help those people in need. And those people in need might be within your community. We have to come back to being humble. We have to come back to realizing that what God, or whoever you believe in, has given you has happened so that you can be a channel and a resource to help others. So if you're great at writing, maybe you could help someone who isn't great at writing fill out that form that they don't know how to fill out. Maybe if you have good eyesight and someone doesn't have good eyesight, you could help them go to the glasses place and get some new spectacles so that they can see. Maybe a family member really needs you to help them at this time because they've got depression and they can't, they're having difficulty with everyday tasks or living. Maybe that person with anxiety needs you to go and pay them a visit and make them feel happy for a day. It doesn't have to cost you money. You can give people your time for free. And like I said, if you book a reading with me or have any of my services, I give to charity. I give back. This channel is to help those in need. That's why I made this channel. Okay? So if you want to send a donation, I only have PayPal, but if you want to send a donation, please write in the description that it's a donation so that I know that you're not paying for a reading. And if you want a reading or any of my other services, just contact me via my email, which will be in the description box of this video. Now, before we go, I want you to remember that you need to come into balance. And I want you to help in your local area or with your family, or whoever you can help. Whatever you feel that you can give. It might only be something small. It might be that you go to the school in your area and you read to children or something like that. It doesn't have to be a big thing that you do. It doesn't have to cost any money. But if we all do something small in the world, imagine how the world's going to change. So I want you to be the change that you want to see. Be the change you want to see in your masculine. Have gratitude for what you already have. And now we're going to sing Joyful, Joyful, because I've gone on and banged on for a long time. Been banging on about all this stuff for far too long. But it's a really important message today. Alrighty, is everyone ready? Little Red Riding Hood is. She's up there. Can you see her? Alright, ready? Joyful, joyful, Lord, we adore you. God of glory, God of light. Hearts unfold like flowers before him. By the way, what have you done for him lately? That's the question. Ooh, 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 yeah. What have you done? What have you done for him lately? Give yourself a pat on the back. Ooh, 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 yeah. Self-care is important. Come and join the chorus, the mighty, mighty chorus. Do you need to help yourself? Right? Joyful, joyful, Lord, we adore you. God of glory, God of light. Hearts unfold like flowers before you. Do, 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 do. Alrighty, so think about who you can help in your community. If you need self-care, make sure you give that to yourself first and foremost, because you can't help anyone else unless you help yourself first. I'm available for readings. I'm available if you want any of my services. Please contact me via email, and I hope you have a beautiful day, night, afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe and make sure that you try and come out of that ego space, right? Come out of your ego, back into balance, and let's have a really good, beautiful, peaceful, loving 2023. Okay? All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.